Walking all the day near tall towers where falcons build their nests.
Yeah, well, producing Song for Ireland, which was the last song that Luke ever recorded in a recording studio, was an amazing experience for me. He had been quite ill at the time, and his mood in the studio was sort of mixed, so we decided that we'd just really get concentrated on it. And the rest of the Dubliners kind of went out and went for a walk and wandered around, and Luke began to really get concentrated on the song. And it took take after take after take, and despite the fact that he wasn't well, suddenly there came a moment in the studio where Luke appeared as Luke was, and the sheer power of his voice, just began to happen. And I remember the moment well, and everybody in the control room suddenly looked at each other and said, "Yeah, this is Luke." And it was amazing. It came at a time in his life when, a lot of the early Luke, wasn't really visible.
Saw one touch the bow. He played a reel which seemed so grand and gay. Stood on Dingle Beach and cast in wild foam. We found Atlantic bass living on your western shore. Saw summer sunsets, asked for more. I stood by your Atlantic sea and sang a song for Ireland.
We weren't to know that very shortly afterwards he was going to leave us.
I must away now, I can no longer tarry. This morning's tempest I have to cross. I must be guided without a stumble into the arms I love the most. And when he came to his true love's dwelling, he knelt down gently upon a stone, and through her window he's whispered lowly, "Is my true love within at home? Wake up, love, it is thine own true lover. Wake up, love, and let me in, for I am tired, love, and oh so weary. Into the arms I love the most."
I remember going into the room and I would call his name and there was no response, and normally after a little while, he would sort of at least open his eyes and I would know he was okay, just having a rest in. And when there was nothing, I got worried, and at some point during the night they came out to me and said basically there was only a 50-50 chance, and that was the first indication to me that it was so serious. And I remember the next day they did a brain scan to see whether there was any basic brain function left, and later we were told there wasn't and nothing could be done, basically.
Nobody could have anticipated the turnout. All of Dublin stopped. People gathered around that church, and There was real, genuine mourning. It was as though Parnell had died.
I remember Noel Ginnity saying to me at the funeral, if this guy had the slightest comprehension of how loved he was in this city, you know, he wouldn't have died on us.
I was outside the chapel at Whitehall when he was being buried. I was rushing to a meeting in Dublin, and I had hoped to be there for the Mass, and I always regretted not letting the meeting go. I always regretted not getting out and just being there and paying my own wee bit of personal homage. And you could see the throngs of people gathered.
Luke's singing, particularly his ability to deliver a song, is something that will sustain and will be something that future folk artists will always look back to as a reference and as an inspiration.
Well, I would have him as one of the great interpreters of songs because of the tack he took.
Which should make us really regard those recordings. Extraordinary voice, extraordinary, generous man who turned so much on its head in this country.
I think it's wrong to iconize people. You know, obviously he was just an ordinary person with his faults and his flaws like the rest of us, and I think, you know, we sometimes commit the error of putting people up on pedestals when they're dead. But I do think it's true to say that he kept faith with whatever being Irish is.
Then the old triangle could go jingle, jangle.
There hasn't been even a young voice in Ireland that's come anywhere close to that area that Kelly defined.
All along the banks of the Royal Canal. Thank you for the days, those endless days, those sacred days you gave me. I'm thinking of the days I won't forget a single day, believe me. I bless the light, I bless the light that lights on you, believe me. Now you're gone, you're with me every single day, believe me. Days I'll remember all my life, days when you can't see wrong from right. You took my life, but then I knew that very soon you'd leave me. But it's alright, now I'm not frightened of this world, believe me. I wish today could be tomorrow. The night is dark, it just brings sorrow, then it rains. Thank you for the days, those endless days, those sacred days you gave me. I'm thinking of the days I don't regret a single day, believe me. Days I'll remember all my life, days when you can't see wrong from right. You took my life, but then I knew that very soon you'd leave me. But it's alright, now I'm not frightened of this world, believe me. Thank you for the days, those endless days, those sacred days you gave me. I'm thinking of the days I won't forget a single day, believe me. I bless the light, I bless the light that lights on you, believe me. And though you're gone, you're with me every single day, believe me.